I hope all is well with everyone and you are excited. Y'all made it through the first part of the business plan process of this boot camp. So just for 30 seconds, I know Patty is at work, but I just want everybody who can come on camera just for 30 seconds, just not 30 seconds, but 10, because somebody driving and he'll be done swerved off the road. I just want y'all to give yourself a round of applause that y'all made it this far, because everybody did not make it through and will not be moving forward. So there are some people who are no longer in the class. So I just want to say to you, this is truly a boot camp where we do not have time to play and you have to make time to get this done. This is not something we'll get to it in 2-3 months. We'll be done in a month. We will be finished with this class in a month. Can y'all believe it?
Yeah,
I can.
Exactly. This time next week, we will be doing our final presentation practice. I mean, not next week, next month. And
like what?
Oh, I was about to say, what?
Don't do that. Don't do that. And this time next month on Thursday, we will be meeting each other in person. So
next week?
Not next week. The final presentation is in person.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I keep messing up. Don't pick with me. So so I just want to say to y'all that y'all made it through the first part. This first part really for you to get your head in the game, get used to what we're doing, to start thinking about the processes, the steps, the things that we're going to do. So for those of you who love to monitor their emails and everything, you know, we will definitely, you just saw me send y'all like 12 zillion emails. If you can't find something that's a resource to help you with your business and what you're trying to do, then I don't know what you're doing in this class. I have sent you emails on how to get funding. I've sent you emails that you can go and network. I've sent emails on operations for your business, marketing. I mean, I've sent you a ton of events and seminars and workshops, and I even found one for the film and movie stuff. So, you know, there's definitely room and space for you to either learn or to connect with other people for potential customers, to test out your words and your theories and practice what you're trying to do and what you say. So please, you know, take advantage of the information that I'll be sending y'all going forward. You don't have to, but most of it is free or low cost. And so if you have the time, do it. If you don't, you don't. But I definitely sent a lot. So if you can't do everything, pick what you can do, because I can't even do everything. So this is where you have to be mindful of what you see and what you take your time on. I know we love to have money to do everything, but trust me, time is just as important as money. And so I will keep reiterating that to you so that y'all understand that you've got to balance your time and what you give your time to. So just know that if you do a lot for your family and friends, and if you can tell them that you need them to like pull on somebody else so that you can focus for this next month, I would definitely recommend that, because we have to get our marketing info down. We have to get our accounting and financial info down. You have to get your research done if you haven't been working on doing your research. So this is the crunch time that we are getting ready to focus on. So nice time is up. Get the work done is here. And so that's my whole point. If they can't make it through what we had to do for the first couple of weeks, then they definitely won't make it for the rest of this plan. We do have a couple people, just time wise, they work a different shift. So they have to watch the recordings and then do their information. And they have been, a couple of them have been keeping up. So there is still 2 more. There was 9 in the class, and we are going down to 7. So 2 are no longer in the class. So just know that. All righty. So that's why I said definitely acknowledge the wins. And this is a win that you made it this far and that you are processing what you have to do. So I just want everybody to know that I do know you are fighting to do what you got to do and focus. Let me also say, I know in the beginning it is rough to have to put your words in sentence format, and it is very hard to put it in 2 words, but the majority of you did an awesome job on your pitch for a first draft. And I believe a lot of you hashed out a lot of where you stand and what you're going to be doing and how you're going to do it. For those who filled in their pitch prior to this morning, I did send you emails on what I saw and gave you a little bit of feedback on just the basics of what you put in, on whether I thought you were on the right path or not. For those of you who filled it in during the day today, I will get to it and give you some feedback probably in the morning when I go through emails. But overall, I was very, 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 very happy and excited with what I saw. And I just want you to know that y'all, you're not lost and y'all are not confused. A lot of you are very clear what you're trying to do. So I wanted to just let you know, again, it is a process and it's not perfect. And you still may make changes as we go forward. But I did see from day one where we started to where we are now that a lot of people updated their statement and how they said they were doing their business and what they were doing. So I do want to acknowledge that I did see that. So how do y'all feel about round 1? It's time for y'all feedback. Tell me, what did you think about going through these first 2 weeks?
Oh, my bad. Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was gonna say it wasn't hard. It's just a matter of getting it out of my head and on the paper. That's really the biggest thing because we all know what we want to do, but getting it to a point where it's very concise and straightforward to make sense to other people is the hard part. So it's just that process itself is kind of like, all right, let me brain dump and just figure this out. But it's not a hard process, so.
Very good. Anybody else want to comment on this process?
The thing I learned, is the most important part of your business plan is your business. Because when I the last few weeks, I've listened to like a lot of interviews with like people like Grant Cardone, this lady named Wendy Day. She's in charge of like but she's the reason why people like Master P got real big major deals and stuff like that. And the main thing that they all talk about is your pitch. And your pitch is what's gonna get other people to believe in what you're
doing. Very good. All right, anyone else? What do you think, Miss Patty? How was this process for you from the first round to the second round? What do you think? Because if you notice, this is a different format than your first round.
Yeah, but I think my head is more in it because I understand my business a little bit more than I did the first time. First time, it was an idea, but not understanding business aspects. So since the first round, I've been operating in my business, learning strategy, learning pricing, learning all the little nuances to just the startup part of it, but I'm still learning about pricing, trying to figure out just the business parts. Now, as far as the pitch goes, I think I have that down because I pretty much meditate all the time on how I would describe my business to somebody and what my business do, because everybody's bakery business is different, home-based, or if it's a storefront, or if it's just food delivery platform. I mean, everybody's is different. So I have to make sure that I'm explaining my vision effectively so that others don't assume that, oh, your business is just like so-and-so, but no, you can't come to me with that mindset because that is not how I operate my business. So it's giving me clarity on that. And I like the format of the live plan. I like how it's broken up. I really appreciate how you take the time to get us to think and concentrate on a section at a time. Because if you look at a business plan from the very beginning, it's like, oh my gosh, I could never, that's my thought, I could never do this. But to take it in small chunks and just digest it and think on that and meditate on that for a few days and actually apply it. And I have to honestly say, I didn't do my homework over the weekend. And I'm like, oh, wait, what do we have to do? Oh, I didn't do my market research. So that's my bad. But I found that when I was on top of it and I'm doing my studies and I'm thinking about my wording and I'm whatever you wanted us to work on, whatever the assignment was, it was easy to stay focused and in that and not go beyond that, because you can go beyond it. And you encourage us to stay in the moment of what we're studying, and everything else will make sense as it goes along. So I've probably been chatting, but I haven't talked to anybody but work folks. So I'm a little chatty today, y'all.
No,
Got a little caffeine and I'm like,
no, we'll take it.
good.
We'll take
Thank you
it.
for
This
sending
is
the
this is
emails
y'all.
also.
Tonight is y'all
Thank you.
night. Y'all get to shine and be happy and enjoy the moment that you made it. So, what about you, Miss Colleen? How's the process working for you?
Yeah, the process is working. I want to echo what Patty was saying about the sections. I definitely appreciate having sections of like writing a business plan, because in the beginning I was really overthinking. I'm like, what do I need to say? I'm trying to sound perfect. I don't know what goes into this plan. So like breaking it down, having section by section makes it much easier for me to like flow.
Mhm.
So I'm ready for the pitch deck practice. I'm trying to say that I'm ready, but that's gonna be the
okay.
challenge part. That's the challenge. The challenge
I'll
part.
give
It's
you
like
when
really
we get
like,
ready for that part. I'll give you some tips on how to do your pitch and how to get ready to meet in person and do your
yeah.
PowerPoint and everything. I'll give you tips when we get there. I don't want y'all to
Okay.
get stressed over that. It's not
Yeah.
as hard as you think. It's just hard. For me, it was very hard to talk about it openly to other people for the first time. So it was tough for me.
Right. Right.
And then having to feel like somebody was judging me
Mm,
made me feel very, very nervous, and it was really overwhelming. Um,
right.
so we'll deal with that when we get closer, but I don't want that to hang over your head so much that you stress about it,
Mm-hmm.
because my biggest thing is, guess what? You will not lose any money over it, and it's really a practice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have the opportunities to go to some of these other events that I'm sending you and practice with people who don't know you, and see how does it sound when you know introduce yourself and what you do, and see what they are saying, or they seem confused or get it or whatever, test it out. So you'll be fine by the time we get there. You'll just be a little bit nervous because you don't know what they expect, but overall you will be there. And it'll flow as easy as 1, 2, 3 once y'all see it. And I'll do mine for you so you can see it a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
my format of my PowerPoint is not like this one. It was from the time when I did my plan, but you'll see the gist of what'll happen. Alrighty. So does anyone have any questions for me before we get started?
Real quick on the the market research, how many sources did we need?
How many sources should you have?
Yeah.
You don't have to have 100. 2 or 3 should be sufficient. If you find,
I like how you did that. 2 or 3 is a lot. You don't have to have 100, just 2 or 3.
right, because then that make it like it's
That's a
nothing.
lot.
2 or 3, and then remember, we're talking when we say market, if you're referring to the industry, I'm assuming you're referring to the industry part of it.
Mhm.
Then
Yes.
remember that could be broken into something that talks about it historically, something talking about what's going to happen on the trends of the future, which they could be one article in the same, or they could be 2 or 3 different articles. So look for different perspectives of what people are saying about the industry. Don't just pick one and assume they are the gatekeeper of all knowledge, because different people are coming in from different perspectives of what they're trying to point out. So that's why I say 2 or 3 is sufficient. And if you look at it from, like I said, whether it's the past or present or future, then that kind of gives you the opportunity to find your 2 or 3 resources. Does that help?
Yep. Thank you.
All righty. Any other questions? All righty. So we can get this out of the way. According to your syllabus, your homework for today will be to go into the plan part and update the organization details. And so let me go ahead and pull that up so I can share that with you and make sure y'all understand what it is I'm looking for.
Is to do now, or is it due tomorrow? It's for
Well, we don't have class like one day on Monday and one day on Thursday, so it's like 2 and 3 days in between. We hit classes back to back. So I don't know time-wise if people have the ability to do something by the next day. You may have to wait till the weekend and work on it, but
gotcha.
your assignments on the syllabus are broke down on what you should be covering for that day. Now, if you got to do it all on the weekend or however, that is that's your time management. I gave y'all assignments to do on the pitch part, but it was broken into per class to get it done. So the same thing is going to be happening with the plan. Different sections, I'm saying, okay, go fill those in so that by the time we're done, the plan should be done. So if you do it on any given day or break it up or do it in sections, that's up to you. How you do it. I'll just give you a time of what I would suggest you get done so that you can stay on track. Okay. And if there's somebody who doesn't have the syllabus, let me know. You need me to resend it.
Yeah, can you resend that?
Okay. Mm-hmm. All righty. So let's get an overview of what the plan looks like. In case y'all wanted to know, how can I see your stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I can just pull them up and go to them. Alrighty, so we got the pitch down. You got a rough draft of a clue of which direction you want to go. As you can see, when you get ready to watch your plan, everything has the little video clip for you to move forward. Hopefully that was helpful. But now we're actually in the plan. The executive summary section, I do not want you to do it first. Well, you can, but I really don't want you to, because I want you to still keep thinking about what you want to do and make some changes. So you have your executive summary section. According to the executive summary section, this is where from the pitch section, you're moving it into typing it into the plan. If you notice, it's the problem and the solution and an overview of your market, your competition, why should they hire you, your expectations of your forecast, and the highlights of what you expect to happen over the year, and your funding that you'll need. That is all there. If you notice, you have your opportunity, you have your expectations broken under that category. Then you have your opportunity. So this is why I say don't do the executive section first, because that is an overview of the whole plan and we haven't gotten there yet. Do that towards the end. So start here with the opportunity part of it and do the problem solution here. I'm sorry, yeah, the problem, solution, and opportunity here. Start here, skip the executive summary portion and start here. Alrighty, and then if you notice, uh-oh, I'm gonna fix something.
You said start at the what again? Skip executive summary and.
No, I said skip the executive summary
Mm-hmm.
and start with the opportunity.
Okay.
So the executive summary is, remember when I said that like buying a book, you read the back of the book and it tells you what the book is about?
Right.
That is the equivalent of your executive summary. It's an overview of what the plan is, but we haven't built the plan yet. So you don't know what you want to say overall. We just started with the basics of what we're gonna do. So I'm saying you can start with the opportunity if that's what you want to do. But I'm saying skip the executive summary. And so under opportunity, they have the problem solution, they have the target market part, and then it's more details happening in here, with your market size and your segment and your competition and your alternatives and your advantages. That's starting to pull in the some of the SWOT analysis information. Then your execution starts to talk about your operations. This is also where your marketing, let me go back, your marketing and your sales section is. That's where you're talking about how you're going to market your business, what you're going to do. I don't know why it ain't moving up. There we go. So the marketing plan part versus the sales game plan is happening here. And then it goes into the operations. And this is the part I'm saying to go to first and work on, your operations section. That's the homework part I'm saying to go to. Do the operations and say, where will you be located? Where will your facilities be located? Operations, things like that. And so if you don't know where if you're gonna have a physical location, but you don't know where you don't have it yet, but you know you want to get a location, you can still say the business is gonna have a location in East Point, or the headquarters will be located in East Point, or however you want to say that. That's totally up to you. You can have address working from your home if that is what you so choose. And so when I say location, I don't mean you have to put in your physical address. You can just say the city and state where it's located or something like that. Okay. the inside of operations is also now what kind of technology stuff you're gonna need, what kind of equipment and tools you're gonna need. All of that is in there. You initially were gonna start on your milestones, and those were, I said, do your 30, 60, 90 days. If you didn't do it for while you're in class, you can do it for when you leave class. And it was your personal preference, but that will be, you'll enter those in there. And so the easiest way to do those is make a list of the things that you know to do, activities, tasks that you know you need to do, and then break out when will you do it the first month, the second month, or the third month to get it done. If it is something that is in a place where, let's say you're not going to launch the business till next year. And so in that instance, then I would make the metrics, your milestones, 3 months, 6 months, and a year. So what will you do over the spring to get ready? What will you do over the next 3 months? What things will you get done, like getting incorporated or researching where you're going to get your bank account for your business? All that stuff. Just because you're not operating doesn't mean there is not a to-do list of things to do to get ready to operate. You don't have to wait till the doors are open in order to figure out things that you got to do. So, who will be your supplier, or who, all those kind of things, you can research that stuff. So, but may not be urgent to figure something out. So you can break that into sections on things I'll work on this month, things I'll work on the following month, things that are, can wait, and I'll put them towards the end. So it's up to you, but that's where those are go. Let me show you how easy it is to put them in. Milestone, incorporate business. Today is the 15th. I'm gonna do it by the end of the month. And who's responsible? I'll put myself. And apply for secretary of state incorporation. And they have a choice to send you an email to remind you, and it go on the list. And that's it. And you just keep adding the next one. All right. Technology. Describe software, hardware, and information or whatever. So maybe I need, for now, I don't know full sentences right now. I just know I need bookkeeping software. I know I need a new computer. You get what I'm saying? You can do that later. Now they do have some example ones down here to show you how, what you can do on putting in the information. But as you notice, they are there. They still provide support. Next section is your company. And how they have the company broken out is your overview of ownership. And that is something we're getting ready to talk about tonight. That'll include what type of business entity you're going to choose to be. Are you a sole owner? Do you have partners? Will you be selling any part of the business? All that kind of stuff will be in there. And then who's part of the team that'll be managing the team. So I'm just making this up, but let's just say I need my CEO, my CFO, chief executive officer is normally your president kind of thing. Your CFO is chief financial officer or your treasurer, person handling the money. Your CEO is normally handling your operations. You need your administrative assistant or your secretary, it's up to you. You may need, cooks, or you may need trainers, you know. So it's up to you on the kind of things that you feel like you need to do for you to develop the team. Advisors, I could have Kiana is a bank advisor. I could have a legal advisor, even if I don't know who it is. I can have a financial planning advisor. So it's up to you who you think you need to be your advisor. What kind of advisors do you need? So it's still going to be easy to put the info in for now, and then eventually we can break. I may end up going back and talk about the advisors in a little bit more detail, if I so choose. The financial plan is going to be more towards the end, because I don't like people to stress over the money. So as you can see, this is they have a use of what you need money for, how do you anticipate to get the funds for what you're saying you need money for, and putting in your expenses and your revenue. I don't want to get into that and get you click clacking on it and get all bent out of shape. So don't touch that part right there for the forecast. But you've already started making a list of funding needs, and so that will kind of go in that financing section. And then these projected profit and loss and balance sheets are going to somewhat come from you doing your forecast. So don't worry about those yet.
I do have a question. I did attach my QuickBooks and I want to detach it. How do I do that?
Okay. Well, I will send an email to Live Plan and ask that question.
Okay. Gotcha.
Send me an email so I can forward it and just have them reply to both of us.
Okay. All right.
All right. And then, you can always edit the outline. If you notice, there are additional sections in here that you can put in. So you have your company history, you have the exit strategy, you have future markets, intellectual property, key customers, market trends, regulatory requirement, risk and mitigation. The actual SWOT analysis is here. So you can put those sections in if you so choose to do. Let me see. Let's say company, and I decide I want to put this SWOT in. But I swear I just saw it moving. Let me try it again. You see it? Drag and drop. Did everybody see that?
I'm sorry, do it again.
So my overview has the SWOT analysis right here.
Okay.
And all you have to do is drag and drop it. So let's say I go up here. And my executive summary, I want to do an exit strategy and I want to put it in the executive summary. Well, then I can just drop it right there. And there it goes. You saw that?
And so what is it? Oh, sorry.
So you'll have to put it where you want it to go, as you can see. If you want to move it, you can move it for the sake of the example.
Gotcha.
All right, what was your question?
What does it look like after we drag and drop? What does the final look like?
You mean, what does the plan look like when it's finished?
Yeah, yes, sorry.
It will look like a real plan.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
No, when it's like how you did your pitch.
Mhm.
Let me see who did. I think you did a lot. You did a lot in yours. So let's see, in the pitch part, it is just like the pitch. So
Okay.
you typed it in this way, but you can publish it and print it out like a little report.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Or you can download it like a PowerPoint.
Okay.
And so I'll just download your PowerPoint so you can see what it'll look like. And let me stop this share. All right, everybody can see me. I stopped the share. Your PowerPoint is downloading. And as soon as it opens up, I will come back and share it. All righty, so I just downloaded your PowerPoint that fast. Enable the editing. Hold on, I'm gonna click something, hold it. Go back and do it again. Alrighty, so you see it, it's just the basic words of what you put in. But I can always go now and add in the design. And make your PowerPoint how you want it.
Okay.
And then they got, they have and then I can go to different slides and change what the design looks like for that slide if I want to. It's just up to you how you want to do it. If I want to add pictures or whatever, but it'll put it in your PowerPoint format. I don't want that format. I want this kind. You can just start editing and putting it in how you want it to look, which background you want. And then if you notice, they added it automatically for you.
Gotcha.
So making your PowerPoint will be easy if you notice.
Oh, thank you.
When you'll go back and edit your pitch at the end, and you'll just with the newer information, and then download it, and you have your PowerPoint. All there for you, ready to roll. So hopefully that helps everybody. But the plan does the same thing. It'll be a full paper plan when you're done. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question? All right, well, that takes care of going over the outline of how the plan looks and how to add in sections. You know how to go back and edit your pitch. Let me see. I think that's the gist of things for live plan to talk about. Save it. Does anybody need a break before we move on? All righty. Well, then I will get ready to bring up the next piece of the puzzle. Alrighty. So let us get to the point of talking about your plan. I don't know why I keep doing this. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, taxes.
Alrighty. So what I want to say is one of my friends created this PowerPoint. And so this is really her PowerPoint. So if you don't have an accountant and you need an accountant, consider using Integrity Accounting Services as a company if you must. Find one. It is that time of the year to make sure we get that done. So her presentation is more focused on commenting on these details from an accounting standpoint. And so I like it to use it because she talks to you like if she was going to be your accountant, what are things that she would need to say to you and make sure you understand. Obviously, everybody is not ready to be a business owner. I want to say that and be very clear, it's not about everybody should want a business. Everybody should not want a business if that is not their path. Somebody is the chief and somebody is the Indians. And everybody does not have to be the chief. Some people want to be chiefs and they are the Indians. And so when it comes time to have to do these things that it requires to be in a business, then you realize people look at their managers and supervisors and say, oh, I could do that job, they can do it. But then when they realize all the things they have to do, then they realize maybe they don't want to do all of that. There are people who are very comfortable just being the worker and no leadership responsibility and just chill. And there's nothing wrong with that because one day you're going to want to hire somebody. So you need people who need to be clear they the Indians. So it's okay if business ownership is not right for you. It's okay to check and test to see if you want to have your own business. So there's nothing wrong with that. I told y'all when I did my original business plan, I had to say, I don't want to do this. So does the idea suit your personality? That was the problem for me and my interest. It wasn't that I couldn't do what I wanted to do in the plan. It was that when I thought about doing it all day, every day, person after person, I was like, I don't want to do this. And that's okay. If you go through this process and say, it's not for me, or it's not what I thought it was going to be, the more I researched this and found out the details. Will it be financially viable? And so that's a question that all of you will have to determine. Is this business part-time or is this business full-time? So why are you doing this business in the whole first place? Is it because you want financial freedom? Is it because you just want extra income? Is it because you are going to quit your job and you want it to replace your income? Is it because you want to be, at a certain income level and between your job and the business that'll put you there, or you expect this business to put you there by itself? You have to be the one to make that determination. No one in here can make that answer for you, but you do need to make that call as to right now, not necessarily 10 years from now, but right now, what is it that you expect this to be? When I did my plan, I expected it to be a part-time income, additional income, and I was getting out of college and I was going to look for a full-time job and just do the consulting on the side. but the economy crashed. And because I had a plan, I got to work the plan to be my business, and it covered me for years. So it just worked out that way. But that was not my original plan. My plan was to be part-time with it. So just take that. Are you a self-starter and an effective salesperson? I am not the greatest at being a salesperson. So you may have to hire somebody to do that. But the self-starter part, you gotta do that because nobody's gonna make you get up and do this business, even on the days you don't want to be bothered. So it's all on you. So you gotta be willing to get up and make yourself do what you gotta do. But can you motivate and inspire people if you're gonna need a team? You know, are you good at planning and organizing and keeping up with everything that you're gonna have to do and spacing out to get it done? Can you work long hours? Can your family handle that you'll be doing this? I literally sometimes have missed, um, I literally missed calling everybody to say happy Valentine's Day yesterday because I was busy and it wasn't on the priority list for me, but some people it is. So you just have to be willing to know what you are. And my family already knows that's how I am. So before you start your business, make sure you have your personal taxes in order if you are anticipating to go get some funding or some business credit. I literally listened to a webinar earlier today about funding, and it had a criteria of things that people should have in place in order to get this business funded. And I took a screenshot. I'll send that email to y'all. I mean, the screenshot. But she said you should have at least a personal credit score of 640. Now, I don't know if everybody has that credit score already and then life is lovely, or they don't have it and that's a goal that they need to get in order. But I would definitely take that number as a idea to check your credit score and see where you are and trying to make sure you're in that place. Alrighty. Do you have insurance in place? So business insurance is not that expensive. And I don't want to go all the way left until I talk about the risk management side, but for my nonprofit to get like $1 million insurance policy was like $500 for the whole year to cover me to go teach wherever I needed to go teach in person or events or anything. So business insurance does not have to be expensive. Obviously, it will depend on the type of business. I'm definitely going to assume that trucking insurance is more than teaching insurance. So, but it doesn't have to be. Just find out what it will cost you. So if you don't know what it's going to cost you, go find out so you can put it in your financial expenses estimates. Alrighty. So main steps: decide what type of business you want to be. Get your tax ID information, and register with the Secretary of State and get a business license, whether it's going to be city or state or city or county. If you need to register your trade name or do any trademarking or copywriting, consider that. And then meeting with your consultants. I always tell people that you need to get an accountant and you need to get a lawyer. And so you have someone who will talk to you from both perspectives or help you with contract development or, and even if you can't afford a lawyer, consider maybe prepaid legal or something to help you get in place and do what you need to do. When you watch TV and these court cases, there's always people saying, oh, I ain't know, I don't know. That doesn't work on you don't know. You want to be in business, it's your responsibility to know. So just consider those kind of ways that you need to do that. And we'll come back to these details in a minute. Make sure, so she likes to estimate your income taxes and make payments so it's not one lump sum at the end. I've never gotten into that place in my in 15 years. I just write the check at the end and be through with it. But it is good to do them in a quarterly start process, so it's not a big lump sum at the end. But that's up to you. You can pay yourself. You can set up an account and pay yourself and take out your taxes as well. You'll need your EIN and your articles of incorporation in order to go to the bank. And the EIN is short for employer identification number, which is also going to be, or your tax ID number, which is going to end up being like the social security number for the business. So they need to see you registered with the state, and they need to see you have that tax ID number in order to let you open up a business account. When I've gone to open up business accounts, the companies I've gone to, they've started bank accounts with as little as $50. All right. So let's consider what type of business you want to be. Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Meaning you don't have to incorporate with the state. You can make a flyer and a business card and go outside today and tell people you in business. And everything is under you as a person. Even if you say a business name, it is still on you. If I go outside, so I own my house, and if I go outside and do something and somebody sues me as a sole proprietor, everything I have personally is applicable for them to sue to take. And all my income is considered self-income to be taxed. So this is where it's a little tricky, because you have to decide from a tax perspective, which is not always in line with a legal perspective, what type of entity that you want to be as a business. Your partnership is going to be, if it's more than two of you, then you can set up as a partnership. But I will definitely say, if you are going to be partners, that you need to consider a partnership like you are getting married. And you need to do, what do they tell you to do before you get married? What should you do?
Sign a prenup.
There we go. Thank you for that answer. Because
You
I'm
gotta protect the
telling you,
assets.
I'm telling you, and I'm telling you again, get a prenup, not on a napkin, AKA marriage oblige, a real prenup that they don't get to argue about and challenge and come up with. If this does not work out, what happens? If this works, what happens? Go on and call it so that there is no argument. Somebody's mic is on.
Quentin.
My bad.
Make sure you do that. In one of my classes, I had a person who had a nightclub with like 3 or 4 other people, and she helped work it, but she had a primary job and she worked like nights or weekends or something, but there was a primary person that's what she did all day. It was her, that the club was her primary job. And when they fell out, she took all the money out the bank and she did some other stuff, but all of the partners were responsible. They did not have a contract in place on how this was going to work. And so, be very clear about that. That is, I don't care if they say it's your husband, it's your wife, it's your best friend. Okay, again, everybody on these court shows, they not suing strangers. They suing people that's their family and friends. So what makes you special that when it comes to you and the person you know, we not gonna have that problem? I'm sure everybody on TV thought that too. So just go on and do it up front and call it. And if the person does not want to call it, then that's a problem already. So that's the best I can tell you about that story. But other than that, partnerships can be, you can be a partner from, I'm a sidebar, from a government contracting perspective. When you are a partner, you need to determine who owns what portion of the business. So if this is a minority owned business, so let's say it's a husband and wife, and let's say they two different ethnic backgrounds or whatever, so they Black and white, they cannot have a business 50-50 and say it's a minority owned business. Whatever you are trying to get certified to do in a government contract, whatever that category is, has to be the majority owner. And even if it's 3 of you or 4 of you, the percentage of whoever y'all break out the percentage, it still has to be that collectively they become the majority owner of the company. So even if it's 4 of y'all and you total it up and give everybody 25%, if you want to be minority owned, then 3 of you have to be minorities, which will automatically make it 75%, but it had to be at least 51%. So it couldn't be 2 of you at 25% and you still say you minority owned and the other 2 are not minorities. You have to have a majority of that. That also means the same thing if it's woman owned. That also means the same thing if it's veteran owned, and on and on. Do you understand what I mean? And I know I told you more details than you care to make, but in paperwork, that will matter down the line if that is something that you so choose to do in government contracting. So just keep that in mind. And a lot of times you'll see, so they can qualify as a woman-owned business, the wife will be 51% and the husband will be 49%. Because they could have both been minorities, but they obviously are both not women. So a lot of times that'll happen, even though it might be his business. And then that's a whole nother conversation that we have another web seminar about, but that's how that works, on why you would see it's not always 50-50. It may be 51-49. In those instances, that's probably what's happening. So you also have the corporation version, and that is your C corporations. Those are your corporations that they are on the stock market or wherever they're selling shares. And when you create the business, you have to define, do we have 100,000 shares or 1 million shares or 10 million shares or whatever? And you have shareholders, you do have debts and obligations, and they are distinct from the owners. So the people running the business and the people who own the shares are different entities, and the taxes and the way you file paperwork is different. The people who are the shareholders have to do theirs, and the people who are the owners and running the business have to do theirs. So it's 2 sets happening. So a lot of times you have to have annual meetings. All those details are, there's a lot of legal paperwork required in corporations. So a lot of times, and you file articles of incorporation. So a lot of times people will do a LLC or a limited liability company, which is kind of like a hybrid of the corporation and the sole proprietorship, so that there is still some type of level of corporate veil in there for legal responsibility or the ability to sue you personally versus the business. So they are considered to be filing articles of organization. They don't file articles of incorporation, they file articles of organization. But they're similar on what you're saying, who are the owners and their contact information. Then they can elect to be a S corp, which now goes into the whole process about the tax liability part of it. And then they have you just have your profits and losses. And when you file your personal tax returns, you would file for your business at the same time. So if you were 50-50 and you had 10,000 in profits, then one of you would file a $5,000 profit and the other one would file a $5,000 profit if you were 50-50 on inclusive of your personal taxes. There'll be additional form for your LLC part of the business. Any questions so far? All right. Did I hear a question coming? All right.
Yeah, I'm about to ask a question, but you go ahead.
Nope.
Okay. So this the question I got there. I thought, well, also with your taxes too, what get taxed is not your gross, it's also your net, right? That's what's taxed with your net, not your gross. Like, say if you gross $1 million, your company gross $1 million, but you didn't make $1 million. You only made maybe like
finish the example.
That 500 grand.
Okay. So say the question again.
Now the question I would ask, say if your company make $1 million, but that's not what you netted, that's what you gross. That's what the company gross whatever. So would they gross you on the full million, or would they gross you on the $500,000 that you put in your pocket? Because you net it on the $500,000.
You pay the taxes on?
Yeah, the taxes, yeah.
No, you pay the taxes on the net and the profit. You don't pay taxes on the gross, because right. So the business, the government isn't going to tax you on the money that flow in and out of the business. They're going to tax you on what you got to keep, because that's the profit. So yeah, you made $1 million, but you only got 500,000 after everything happened, and you paid for everything. You only ended up with 500,000. Then they're only going to tax you on the 500,000. They're not going to tax you on the money that moved to operate the business.
Okay, so the money that operating business, they're going to be right off, right?
Right, that's going to be expenses. So they're not going to tax you on that, but you're going to list on the LLC
expenses
for how you spent it.
Gotcha. That's the reason why I asked that, because I just got a tax return, playing my first tax return.
Well, congratulations, business owner.
Yeah, I feel like a real businessman.
And I want you to get a real business accountant person and not just go to HR. Because I want you to do it right for your first time and understand why it's happening.
Okay.
All righty. All right. Any other questions right there before I go? Okay. Filing your personal tax returns is April 15th, as well as your corporate tax returns. But depending on what type of entity you are, would dictate when you're doing. And all of these dates are assuming that you said your business operates from January 1 to December 31st. Okay. Now, what are some of the things people don't do that they should do? They don't keep up with their record keeping. And so, yeah, you keep up with your receipts, but you don't look at your bank statement, you don't look at your credit card, and you getting charged fees you didn't know, or you're not reconciling, which is the bank accounts. You're not looking at the bank statements and paying attention. And I will tell you one that I literally just saw. I went to go pay a bill today, and I went to check my bank account to see if it was enough in it for the nonprofit account. and I had gotten charged $200 and something for a software I signed up last year that I'm not even using. And then because I hadn't been paying any bills, because I hadn't had any to pay, when I look back on the activity, they had been billing me like 100 here, 100 here, because I hadn't been looking at the bank account because I hadn't been using it. So now I got to deal with that. Not backing up your data. Oh my goodness. I'm going through that right now. I did not back up my flash drive. I backed up the computer, but didn't back up the flash drive and lost the flash drive. And it had a ton of details in it that I could not, I can't recall a lot of stuff. And I had it and my little feelings is really hurt. Because I suffer on where that flash drive is to this day. And I haven't seen it since December. So, matter of fact, it was before that, it was the fall. My mom was still here. Yeah. So I'm still suffering. Please back up your stuff. Not paying your sales tax or not registering to pay your sales tax and not tracking reimbursable expenses. And so very easily, you're not tracking your mileage, or you're not tracking the gas, or you're not tracking what supplies, what was for equipment. You just paying for stuff and you don't know what you're paying. You're just doing stuff and you just got a pile of receipts. Keep the receipts, but you still need to be noting what the expenses are. And now I did do this. Even when I got my bookkeeping software and I was using QuickBooks, but QuickBooks is not the easiest software out there. But they built it originally for accountants, so it has a lot going on. It does a lot and has a lot going on though. It's not the easiest one. So if that is not your thing, you can get other bookkeeping software. But what I did do is go and sat with an accountant to set up my accounts for me to make sure I had them in right. And I told her about my business and she created all the individual expense accounts on what all I should be tracking. So I knew where to put everything. And then she went over the software to make sure I did know what I was doing. And so I just paid her for the time to help me set it up and to help me with showing me how to use it. So sometimes you don't have to, if you want to do bookkeeping yourself, you can still pay them to help you set it up. But they also can help you with understanding your financial statements. That's a whole nother conversation on what those are. But people don't know if they don't read them or make them, that it tells a lot about them. And when you're going to go to the bank, they're going to ask you for them. And that's going to tell on you. So be mindful of that. All right.
I do have a question.
Okay.
But it's about the tax deadlines. I know the tax deadline for like the 1099s was January 31st, and I missed it. And do you know about that? Like when it comes to like like them penalizing.
What's the penalty?
Yeah, the penalties.
I personally don't know the penalty. The accountants could tell you, or the IRS could tell you, but I don't know. I don't know that it will be an issue unless someone points it out. Let me say that. So if you owe to send someone their 1099s, I would go ahead and get them on out and just don't drag it out. I will stop what I'm doing and get them done. Because you don't want to drag that out. And I don't know if there's a penalty for every day you don't get them out, or is there just a lump fee or whatever. So that's why I'm saying at least go on and get it done, because they are supposed to be stamped in the mail by January 31st so that you are not picking up people to go file their taxes. So they allow you that first 30 days to get it ready. And then after that, they, they said, that you holding people up. So
Mm-hmm.
before somebody does go file a complaint, and then it becomes an issue. But
Okay.
I don't know that people get an automatic penalty because they didn't send it out on time. I think it really triggers by somebody pointing it out.
If they point it out, got
So,
you. But still go ahead and send it out.
if you don't do it, you definitely gonna get in trouble.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, dang, do I wait till next year? Because I know people already filed their taxes, and
No, because they can do
I
it.
haven't. Huh?
No, you can always do an amendment on your taxes if you need to. You can always go fix your taxes if you need to.
Okay, got you.
So no.
I didn't know. Oh, thank you, Rico.
No, I was feeling like I'm holding people up, and I ain't saying nothing out.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine, because I missed the deadline too. I just got the tax return like a couple weeks ago. I just got it, so I missed the deadline too. So that means I gotta file this next year for 2024.
No, you file no. Let me be clear with the 1099. The 1099 is the employer or the company providing it to the contracted person or the employee. So the company has a responsibility to get it out to the people that need it to go file their taxes.
Right.
The government says they have to have it in the mail by January 31st. So that person can receive it and go get their taxes done before April 15th.
Okay.
So if you had to give somebody a 1099, then you have to put it in the mail by the 31st. If the company needed to give you a W-2, they have to put it in the mail by the 31st. You can't make them give it to you, but they have
to. Yeah, I got their W-9s. I just missed the deadline, and
don't put them in the mail.
Right, and I was like, could I wait till next year? I know I have to probably do it this year, right?
If it's 4/22, then you need to send it to them.
Right, ASAP. Okay.
Year is due each year.
Right.
So I'd rather it be 2 weeks late than a whole year late.
Right. Okay. I'm getting it together.
Okay. This is y'all safe space. People have to realize I don't talk about myself because I like bragging. I tell y'all my flaws and my mistakes of doing my business because I don't want you to not know that you can make a mistake and that you can't like recover and move on and deal with it. So that's why I tell you my stuff so that, no one is perfect. And we are an ethnic group that was not raised in business. We were, as a culture overall, we are having to teach ourselves how to do business, whereas other cultures raise their families in business and help them set up and start their business and give them a business or whatever. We're not in that kind of category. We are having to learn every single piece. So give yourself some grace. At least you had them done. At least you knew it was a deadline. Okay.
Right.
So there's different versions of software, and even in these, there's even more today than when she made this. So, there's definitely different accounting software to help you, and that will connect to your bank account and help you as well. Alrighty. So what is the biggest thing of why you record keeping? Cash flow is one of them. It tells the story. Cash flow is money coming in and money going out. And people don't realize that every single month, your bills are not exactly the same. Your sales are not exactly the same every month. And so cash flow helps you pay attention to the best times of your sales and the biggest portion of your expenses. And you may have to pay attention on saving money to cover money and being ready to do things instead of just spending it every month and then trying to figure out what's going to happen next month. But cash flow does help you pay attention to things like that. Your balance sheet covers what you own or what you owe. And your income statement talks about how your gross, what you brought in and what you ended up with. Okay. So that is the biggest part of covering that topic. Do we have questions on what we discussed? All righty. So I do want to say so that people have a clue where to go. I do want to take a moment to highlight that for you really quick. So we can get through the operations part of this. All righty. So you want to go to your Secretary of State of Georgia. All right. I did something again. I done click-clacked on something. Nobody laugh at me. All righty. But is there anybody who has not decided what type of business entity they want to be yet? Because I want to help you make a decision. All righty. Colleen, what type of business are you going to be or are?
You talking about the structure?
Mm-hmm.
LLC. I'm LLC.
All righty. Patty.
LLC.
All righty. Mr. Golden.
See, set it up.
All righty. Mr. Smith.
Currently at LLC, but I'm exploring S corp.
Say that one more time, Mike.
I'm currently in LLC, but I'm exploring S corp.
All righty. So S corp is still going to be under your LLC. It's just another part of it from a tax perspective. Okay. So you'll still be a LLC and with the S corp filing status. Okay. All righty. All right. I know there are a couple people who are going to be watching this that have to make that decision. So for those who, and you can file your incorporation yourself if you want to. Everybody not big ballers like Mr. Golden, who world traveling and making people do it for them.
Oh, I just want to thank God for that. I just think I had the money.
All right. All you got to do is go to your Secretary of State and go to your corporations. Now, here's the thing that people should do is before they decide to set up their corporation, they need to make sure no one else has that name.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to reserve the name, but you do want to make sure it's not the same name as someone else, whether they're in the state or not. At least Google it at a minimum. You don't want people to be confusing you. We have two organizations right now that I know are in the middle of getting ready to go to a lawyer and battle over the name, because the one name The one organization had the name. The other organization had a similar name. The organization number 2 became bigger than organization number 1.
Mm.
And wants organization number 1 to stop using the name. But organization number 1 had the name first. And so there
So,
is a battle in place. Huh?
so couldn't they couldn't the person that made a lot of money, I mean, couldn't that organization trademark it to where it can't be used? And then, you know what I'm saying? And then the other one is just dismissed because they
That is
trademarked the
going to
name?
be a tricky conversation. Because it's not that simple.
Mm.
They have a very good argument to hold their ground.
Mm.
Why is my screen black? Let me get out of here. That's going to be tricky. One, I'll give you another example. Maybe that'll help. You know, I love using my Diddy examples. So, you know, Sean Combs, P. Diddy, aka
Brother love.
yeah. Now, once upon a time, so the government or the world or whatever doesn't say you can't have the same name as someone else. There's more than one Michael Jackson, one Michael Jordan in the world. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So as individual person's name, you can't stop that. But business or you know, your names for your business or in that capacity, that's different. And so he had to change his name because he was here in New York, then he was on the East Coast, West Coast, throughout the US, and then he went international, worldwide, right? Well, there was a DJ internationally who had the name. And so you can have it where you're in your little corner and I'm gonna have it over in my little corner. But once you got so big, you hit my corner, we got a problem. What happened is he now has to buy that person out to walk away. He can't make them get rid of it. They had the name.
Mm.
Can't make them stop. And even though he could have trademarked the US, that doesn't mean he owns it in the whole world.
Right.
And so instead of buying him out and paying him, he just changed his name. Now he legally changed it. He publicly said he changed it. Now, if we keep calling him Diddy and P. Diddy, he can't stop that. But he did legally what he was supposed to do about changing his name, right?
Oh wait, so his name Diddy, he had to change Diddy to P. Diddy or P. Diddy to Diddy?
Yeah, because
Oh, okay, got you.
because the other person had it too.
I didn't know which name he had to change.
What do you want to say, Mr. Goat?
I thought it was Puffy the P Diddy.
Oh, that might have been it. It's been a while. That might have been it. You're right.
Okay.
It might have been, but it was he had to change it because the DJ or the other person had the name as well. And he had it and he had become known in that area that he was in. So he had to make it because he became worldwide, he hit his area. So you can be it over here on the East Coast and they can be it on the West Coast, and the two can never touch. But once one crosses the other one area, now it's an issue. And that's what's happening. This company, they had it already, so they can't make them get rid of it. Even if I'm going to assume if they try to trademark it, even at this point, the trademark company might kick it back because they have publicly used this name. And it's not just on record. We got the name. Like they have donations to that name, the bank account to that name, websites, marketing materials. Like they have actively used this name. So it's not, the goal of the trademark company is not to make somebody stop. It's to keep people from using it in the first place. And
Right. 'Cause I was gonna say, I was working with this clothing designer, and his company was called Brolic Fitness. And then there was another company called Brolic Fitness. They both had the same name. And so I guess the one that made more of the money decided to trademark that name. And so my friend had to change the spelling of it. So that's why I was thinking, like, wouldn't a trademark just, do that? Help with that?
but here's the deal. Had your friend start becoming known, or was he still at that startup phase?
I think he was becoming known. It was years ago.
But it definitely becomes a battle. And he could have probably
Right.
fought it.
Probably. Yeah.
He probably just didn't have the money to fight it and adjusted it.
Right.
But there definitely is getting ready to be, because this one, they got some money. So they getting ready to fight it.
Gotcha.
So there's going to be a nice conversation about buying out and cease and desist letters flying both ways. So we'll see how the story will end, but it's going to be a battle. They're not backing down. So so that's a whole nother conversation. Save that question for our trademark person.
Okay.
Alrighty. I don't know why the screen clicks off when I try to show you the website to go to. I really don't. So I'm gonna try it one more time and then I'm gonna let it go, because that means it's a sign. Is there anyone like me who is having to keep up with 12 million passwords and getting overwhelmed with it?
Nope. All my passwords are the same.
Me.
They're not supposed to be. Somebody steal it, they're gonna get everything.
I press by an inch. That's why they won't get it.
All right. Well, if you do get to that point like me, I did not want to get online with telling everybody my passwords. I mean, I was paranoid about putting my passwords online. And I had a little book that you could keep up with your past logins and passwords. And then I left my purse in the middle of 5 Point Station in Marta one day and was paranoid that whoever found my purse had access to every password and login on every account that I had. So I was passing out about it. Luckily, this lady found it and turned it in for me and I got it right back. But that was the end of that. And so I went on and got an app, LastPass, that helps me keep up with my passwords. And I had to go online and ask people to tell me, and so I like that. So if you ever get to a point, I do like LastPass, LASTPASS, as an app to keep up, which helps me keep up with my passwords. Alrighty, when you go to your Secretary of State, you can go to the corporation section. And they have a lot of information for people on here that want to do business, just in case you ever want to go on there and check. So they will tell you all the details on if you want to register as a corporation or LLC, where to go. They have a little overview of what to do. Now, reserving a business name is, I know the name I want, but I'm not ready to set up the business, but I'm getting ready to, and I don't want nobody to take it until I get there. That's reserving your business name. But if I'm filing the business today and I know the name, I don't have to reserve the name and then file the business. I can just say what business name I want. That's the difference on whether you need to reserve the business name or not. If you reserve the business name and you today, it's like 25, 30 bucks. And then when you go to incorporate later, it's gonna be another 100 or so. And what's gonna happen is they're gonna ask you, do you have a name reserved? So, and if so, tell me the reservation number, so they can pull it and prove that you already have access to use that name. I want to go to the corporation section. I want to go here in the wrong section. So let's go back. I want to go to the corporations part. Which I don't know why on Google it doesn't do the corporation part. Alrighty, before, this is the corporation section of where you're gonna go, to Georgia corporations section. If you already have your business incorporated, you'll click here to do your annual renewal. You do have to pay every year to renew your business incorporation. You have to do it before, I can't remember if it's April 1st or March 1st. If
It's by April 1st.
April 1st, thank you.
Yeah.
I try to do it ahead of time, so I don't have to think about it. If you do a business, it's $50 every year to renew your business. If you're for profit, I'm sorry. If you're nonprofit, it's $30. But they have now allowed you to renew up to like three years in advance now. So you can prepay like 3-4 years now and not have to deal with it. If you want to change the address, or if you want to change people names or whatever, any changes, then you would renew with the changes and log in. Do your business search for the name. So if I do fax, then anything with the name fax would come up. And anything with fax in it. And it's 169 businesses with the word fax in it. But if I go back and look specifically for my business name, then only one comes up. Okay. And so if you want to incorporate, you'll set up and you'll do your online services here, and you'll set up your account, and you'll follow the instructions and the questions and the details that you need to put in there, and go on and make the payment. But that is where you would set up your incorporation. Then you would go to irs.gov. And on the irs.gov site is where you go get your tax ID number. And it should be right on the front to set up the tax ID number. Right here, apply for employer ID number. You can click on there, go through the questionnaire, to file for it and get it. Go on and get, if you go do it online, go on and get it to give you the electronic answer right then. and print your and save your PDF or your file, because then you got to go through a whole episode to get in touch with the IRS to get another copy if you don't get it before you go off that page. But you can get your EIN the same day. The Secretary of State, you will have to file and wait for them to process it, or you can pay an extra $100 expedited fee. If it's, the world ain't gonna die, then just wait. They're normally doing it within 2 weeks to 30 days at a worst case scenario. And those are the two things that you have to have done in order to go set up a business bank account at your bank. If you're a sole proprietor, then they're not gonna let you set up a business bank account. It's just gonna be your personal name. Okay. Any questions about that?
Oh, my bad. Also, too, when you go get that, when you go get your business account, they're gonna give you tax paper too at the bank too.
What was the sentence again about the business account?
I said, as soon as you go get the business, whatever bank you choose to go get the business account with, they're gonna give you tax paper to fill out right there.
Oh yeah, they're gonna fill out the paperwork when you sit there.
Yeah.
They're gonna, oh definitely, and you sign the names, but they're gonna go look it up online and make sure you are who you say you are, and that the company, you, everything match, because setting up a bank account, yeah, they're definitely gonna do that. When you go take your money, take your ID, take your paperwork with you, even though they're gonna go look it up and verify it, because they think people can make their own paperwork these days, but they like to have it so they can read it and go on and type it right in. So just take it with you if you haven't done it already, because you definitely need to separate your personal money from your business money. It may not be, it may be a hassle if you need some money from the business that you have to go get it out the business account and then go put it in the personal account. But guess what? You're supposed to be a business and paying yourself and not just pulling money. So here's that piercing the corporate veil conversation. When you set up a business legally, you are supposed to create a separation of what's business and what's personal, which is why you're supposed to have this business bank account versus your personal bank account. You should not be getting paid in your personal account for the business. They're supposed to be separate entities. If you start paying personal bills with the business account, then you have now pierced the corporate veil. And it don't matter that you are legally on paper separate. You open the door to your personal info that they can sue you personally because you did not create a separation all the way through the process. So separate, create a business bank account, and then pay yourself, and then go pay your personal bills. Don't go shopping with your business card. Pay yourself and then go shopping. Now, if it's a legitimate business expense, then use the business account. But if it's not, then do not open that window for someone else down the line. And it may not matter right now when you only got a few thousand in there, but when the business start growing and something happens, then all it takes is for a lawyer to go through your stuff and say, oh, they already pierced it, we got them. Or if you notice, when the Marvin Gaye family sued Blurred Lines, and they sued the record label, and then they sued all the artists as well on there, because the lawyer is trying to say whoever and however we're trying to get to our money. And they did win that case. So So don't help people get to you. All righty.
That's another
I
thing I
want
do
to
too.
say,
Hold on, Quentin.
no, I was just gonna say, Tamiko, I want to talk to you after this class. I got something to tell you. I need to tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty, Mr. Golden.
Oh no, this what I do too. When money comes to my business account, I send the money to my personal checking account, and when I'm put in my savings account, I do it from the checking account. I never send money to my savings account from the business account either. I do everything from my personal. If I send money from my checking account, I send it. If I send money to my savings account, I do it from the checking account. I never transfer money to my savings account from the business account. I do everything from the personal account.
Very good, because that's what you're supposed to keep it separate. All righty.
Oh, I got one more. I got one question. Do you necessarily need like a payroll account to pay yourself, or you can just take money out to pay yourself?
So again, personal decision on where you are with it. You can have a draw where you just pay yourself, or you can set it up to take the taxes out of the account. I mean, and pay yourself. If you do the draw, so let's say I pay myself $1,000. I write a check to myself from the business to me, and it's a self-pay, right? So now I go and deposit it in my personal bank account, the whole $1,000. Tax time, I have to pay taxes on that whole $1,000 because it was income. If I set up a pay check payment employment process to take out the taxes, then I'm gonna pay myself $1,000 through the process. They're gonna take the taxes out of that, and then they're gonna cut me the difference and create the W-2 process where I'm gonna show where they took out the state, the federal, and all other stuff, and show me where my pay stub is, where they took out the deductions. So it is up to you. What I can tell you is happening now that the PPP process has went away. I've met a few people and the seminar that I sat through that said there is funding still there for people who pay themselves and show that they're paying themselves through the tax process where they got the W-2 and the pay stubs and stuff, not just draw. That if they can prove they're paying themselves, they are eligible for these funds that they can get. So I never did set that up, so I wasn't eligible for any of that kind of stuff because I always just paid myself.
Through the drawer, right?
So I didn't have any records to show that I was paying myself through the W-2 process for the IRS to match up against. So that's the good and bad about it. So it's a personal decision on what you have to do and how you deal with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not an issue for me, but if I wanted to get this funding, then it is an issue. I don't have any paperwork that is in the format they want.
And even like with the QuickBooks or whatnot, you can like how do you say it?
You can
like
show
you can change. You can show you paid yourself. Right, that's what I'm saying. So that's not proof enough.
It's not proof from a perspective of it took out the taxes and it went through.
I see.
The whole process. That is just keeping up with your money. So I guess they want it in that format, like you're an employee, not an owner.
Got you.
So
Got you.
again, when somebody giving you money, they get to dictate how they want to give it to you and what their requirements are. So if you don't meet them, you know eligible. So in that seminar I sat through today, she talked about it too. That's she helps people apply for the funding, and she said that's the biggest thing that she notices, that small businesses don't pay themselves properly, so they're not eligible for a lot of stuff that they want to apply for. So because that service, you may have to pay for it, and it can cost you anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on what company, and that's every month. So
Mm-hmm.
who don't have a lot don't want to pay that kind of money all the time.
Right.
So it's just a choice. But going forward, if people can afford to set up the process and do it right, I would definitely tell them to do it so that they would be
Mhm.
eligible down the line. You can't hindsight 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this conversation is helping anybody. Is there anything that I have not addressed as far as choosing a business, paying attention to taking care of your bookkeeping, how one way may affect the other, setting up the incorporation? I talked about the government contracting. I talked about the payroll part. I talked about whether, it was going to make a difference from a bookkeeping perspective. So hopefully I have answered it from different angles for y'all to pay attention to how this all will impact you. Is there any questions people have for me?
No, I think that last bit about paying yourself was interesting because I think it cleared up some stuff. Because my sister's an accountant, so she does my tax stuff, which I got all my forms in the
You
mail.
so lucky. You so lucky.
Hold on, listen.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Dang.
Yeah, so I hit me up, and you need the info. If you need the info, I'll let you know. Or if not, you can use the people Tamiko uses. But the paying yourself was always it's still my biggest issue as well, as far as how to properly do that. And like you said, those services can cost. So go downstairs and see what she recommends after this class.
Boy, he don't even have to go.
He's so
town.
privileged. He's so privileged.
Yeah, so
He said, go downstairs.
Life is not about relationships. My parents call me not like now. Life is not about relationships, my guy.
Yeah.
He's
So
definitely
yeah,
calling him privileged.
yeah, but so paying yourself was always kind of my thing. Like, how do I want to do that? But like you said, some of those services can cost, but being able to apply for certain funding will require you to pay yourself a certain way. So that cleared up some of that.
Even into the payment plan protection, PPP, they were looking for you to show that you had paid yourself through that process. And a lot of people were not eligible for the funding just because of that piece of the puzzle.
Dang.
Not that they weren't a legit business, not that they were making money, none of that. They were never paying themselves through that
Properly.
process. And when it was, and nobody knew that was coming, so you couldn't undo it. And we don't talk about people who made it up and they were legit and was getting checks. Not even talking about that.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
No. We're not fooling with you. We almost made it through the night without you cracking the joke.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. So please.
Their business accounts. They were paying themselves directly from the business account and paying their personal bills with the business account. That's what I'm asking.
They were, I don't know how the fraud game worked. I don't know because I didn't partake in it.
I don't deal with fraud, so let that go there. I
Right.
don't deal with fraud. I don't deal with none of that stuff. That stuff means jail. I can't deal with jail.
I did not. I don't know how they work that out. So, but I do know they are chasing them down.
Oh, these folks doing something illegal. Oh, I thought you thought these folks. I thought you said some
Who
people
do y'all
doing.
know that do fraud and it's on the legal list?
Well, black people. I'm sorry.
No, it's still not on the
Bruh.
legal list. I don't care what color they are. See,
I was joking.
I knew he wanted us to go down this road with him.
For real. I wasn't listening. I thought you were saying that people. I thought you were saying that it was people that had a small business and they were trying to get funding, like from the SBA or something like that. And the reason why they weren't able to get the funding is because they weren't paying themselves properly with their business account. That's what I thought you were saying. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious.
So there's different kinds of funding. There is funding just because you're a business, but there is funding because you are paying your employees. Even if you are a business with an employee of one, there was not any proof that you were paying them on a consistent basis or any basis because you was randomly taking a draw or you was just using the business account paying personal stuff. And so you couldn't differentiate that you were an employee. An employee can't just take a draw. The owner can take a draw and they could just technically be taking the money out of the business, not necessarily a paycheck. So they want to see it in that format where it's taking out the taxes and all that. And some programs, if it has anything to do with paying employees and you don't have proof of that, then you're not eligible for it. The PPP loan or program, because some of it you didn't have to pay back, was focused on paying the income of what people were supposed to be making and covering them. So if they were making, if you said they made $2,000 a month, you had to show the payment that they was paying them $2,000 a month. And you could, you wasn't supposed to be making it up. Now, again, I don't know how the other ones made it work, but the legit people, they were asking them for the documentation. And if they didn't have it, they weren't making it through the process, which is how a lot of legit small businesses weren't going to get it. As hairdressers, barbers, all of that, they didn't, anybody doing all of that. And so when it came time for that, they weren't eligible because of the criteria. But there is some current programs out there now that is paying people. And there's one lender that I know that he says he can get people up to $25,000, but they don't have the pay stubs, so they are not eligible. Okay. So choices impact decisions down the line. It may or may not make a difference today, but down the line it might. And then I'll give you another example. Years ago, when you wanted to get certified to do business with DeKalb, they wanted to see the your most recent 2 years of business license. So if you were not legit and you got a business license for 2023, and then you went down there and they was like, well, where's your business license for 2022? And you didn't go get it because you didn't think it made a difference. Well, now it makes a difference. And if you say you've been in business since 21, where is your business license from 22? Because that's something you're supposed to do. Now, Fulton County didn't require that. They just want your most recent one. But DeKalb required the last 2 business licenses if you were open that year. Now, if it was your first year, then it doesn't matter. But if you're saying you were open and your incorporation paperwork said you was open, but you never went and got the business license, then you're going to have to wait till next year to do business with them. And that was years ago. I haven't looked to do business with them, so I don't know if they changed that, but that was years ago when I was helping people set up their certifications with the
So you have to have a business license to do business with the government.
So that's a general statement. In setting up your business, you're supposed to get, if you full-fledged setting up your business, you're supposed to incorporate, supposed to get your tax ID, supposed to get a business license, a bank account, all kinds of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
And so people just do some of the pieces. Okay, that worked for you. But when you want to go to the next level and do something, they ask for it and you ain't got it, now what? Again, everybody get to dictate how to play with them.
Yeah.
One county did not require that. Another county did require 2 years. So that's what I'm saying. Fulton County did not require that. They just wanted the recent. But the CAB wanted the most recent 2 if you were in business. So let's say 22, I didn't get my business license. Well, then I can go to Fulton County today and sign up with Fulton County, but I couldn't go with the CAB because I didn't have last year. If that's so, what happened? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not.
That's the one thing I don't have is like the license.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one act like the businesses that I've done with, they haven't asked me for that. So I'm like, do I really need it? But maybe I do in the future, depending on who I do business with. So I need to have it just in case.
Definitely, because even with contracting with the city of Fairburn and South Fulton, I didn't need one.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I ain't got one either. I got everybody else though.
But I do remember when I received a grant for this arts program, and I wanted to put it under my business name, but because I didn't have a business license, I had to do it under me personally. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let me get it. But I never got through it.
So, but you did find a situation where it came into play.
Yeah.
And so just because we don't do everything legit doesn't mean that we legit. We just legit in the part we did. And so it may or may not impact you, but someday, some kind of way, it may. So no one can make you do everything.
Right.
But in your expenses, I would put it in there because it's an expense.
Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of people who don't have brick and mortars don't have the license. A lot of people who do have brick and mortars do have the license. So I have noticed that as well.
Because it is part of being legitimate. We just choose not to be all the way legit. We just be halfway legit.
Oh my God.
The money though.
So it is what it is.
I'll be like, long as the invoice get paid, I'm Gucci.
This is a safe space, but you know, I'm not gonna tell anybody to do it or don't do it. But you also know your financial situation. So, when you get to that point, you do it. If you can't do it, then you don't do it. But that also means at some point you may run into a situation you need it and you don't have it, and then it'll be a problem. Like the grant opportunity or the funding opportunity you had. It was fine until that. So, it becomes a situation of choices. And it may not be something that you can afford to do right now, but that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do it. It just means that you ain't did it. Okay. All righty. I'm letting y'all go. I hope this night has helped you a lot on some of the decisions that you need to make or research or start doing. Don't forget, I also mentioned on trying to research what kind of insurance for the type of businesses that you are in that you need to do. You can always start with whoever you get your auto insurance to see if they do business insurance, and then move on from there on research. And if you don't know anyone who does business insurance, then let me know and I can give you a couple places to research so you can get some estimates and find out what kind of insurance that you're going to need. All right. So I will be sending you some more info from me and some information for you to start reading to help you with doing your assignments going forward. Okay.
So for the homework, we just need to update the organization details too.
Well, I just figured right now that's probably the
Oh.
easier
Okay.
place to start on, you knowing what type of entity you want to be, what kind of where you want to be located, kind of stuff. But you
Okay.
know, you are more than welcome to try to work on any of the other sections that you want to work on. But I just figured the operation part was easier for people to say where they want to be and where they want to operate, kind of. But
Okay.
are getting ready to get to the marketing section. So that is going to be coming up by next week. All righty.
Cool.
All right. Any questions before I go? Going once? Going twice?
No questions.
Well, I was
Oh,
gonna talk to you about something, Tamiko.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good night.
Good
All
night.
right. Good night.
Hi, everybody.
Good night.